I believe we have live on the line. It's Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, how are you?
Thanks, I'm doing terrific. How are you doing?
How'd the vote go? I understand that you took a vote. They threw you in the car and handed you a cell phone.
So I literally just got off the Senate floor all of about 30 seconds ago.
Well, good. I'm glad that you took the time to give us a call here. I want to talk about Amy Coney Barrett, obviously. I want to talk about all that's happening right now, including Joe Biden putting a lid on things, the state of journalism, big tech. Let's start with Amy Coney Barrett. She actually is probably story number 4 or 5 today, to be honest with you. Last week, did you think that your cohorts on the left went at her too hard? I mean, some of the things were ridiculous. Do you condemn white supremacy? That's just dumb. That's just political theater.
Yeah.
But did they go after her too hard? I mean, when they talk about her being a mother, why she adopted, when they talk about her stance on white supremacy, on abortion, all these things, what are your thoughts leaving that hearing from last week?
Well, I think Democrats started to, but I think Judge Barrett did a fabulous job. I think she was calm, cool, collected. She knew her stuff. She was substantive. And what she was saying was resonating. And so you saw the first day the Democrats try to take some shots at her, try to take some shots at the president. But by the second or third day, it was clear that the Democrats realized this is not going well, and we don't want America seeing this amazingly impressive jurist. And so they wanted to get out of Dodge. But by the middle of Wednesday, when I came up to questioning, there were only 2 Democrats left in the entire room. The rest of them had fled the room, and they'd given up on it. And I think at this point, they're trying to fight just enough to appease their crazy radical base. It was striking last week. The hard left was trying to start a movement to have Dianne Feinstein thrown off a judiciary. They're so mad about it.
Right.
But I think they've given up. They recognize that Judge Barrett is going to be confirmed, and by the end of next week, she'll be Justice Barrett.
It is Senator Ted Cruz from the great state of Texas. He is in Washington, D.C. right now, so he's got his swamp boots on. Let me ask you this. Did you ever foresee a time, Ted, and you've been around the Supreme Court a long time, you're an amazing scholar when it comes to the Constitution, a great lawyer, a great senator, but did you ever foresee a time in this country with that First Amendment where somebody's Christianity would be used against them?
Well, unfortunately, we've seen it building with Senate Democrats. When Judge Barrett was nominated in 2017 to the Court of Appeals, they went after her for her faith. They attacked her for her faith. We've seen the Democrats attacking other nominees. Their position is that a believing Christian in their worldview is not fit for public office. And I think that is an extreme and radical view. It's an unconstitutional view. But it is more and more the position of the left.
So as we're dealing with that, she's going to be confirmed. There's one big fat lie out there in the media. It said like Robert Reich the other day on Instagram or something said this as well, some big, long, elaborate video about how Republicans in history have been known to pack the courts. And he's literally talking about the fact that a Republican president gets to nominate, for courts, judges. And those judges, of course, will be judges that this Republican president, wants to be in those seats. Since when did we change the definition of packing the courts from trying to add Supreme Court justices to get your way, in the Supreme Court, to the basic duty and responsibility of a president to fill open seats?
Well, it was a little over a week ago that the talking points went out among Democrats, and they all began changing what packing the court means. And as you'll recall, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris repeatedly have refused to answer the question, would you pack the court? Over and over again, they've refused to answer, won't answer. Now, there's a reason they won't answer, and it's because their answer is yes. If they get power, they intend to increase the number of justices on the court to either 11 or 13 so they can immediately fill it with left-wing cronies who would undermine our fundamental rights. Now, they know that is a deeply unpopular position with the voters. We've had a Democratic president who tried to do that. FDR tried to do that at the height of his power, and massive Democratic majorities in both houses rejected that effort. They said it'd destroy the independence of the judiciary. It would politicize the Supreme Court. And so what has happened in the past week and a half or so is suddenly every Democrat, their talking point has become, well, that's what Republicans have done the last 4 years, is pack the court. Well, no. Packing the court does not mean filling vacancies. That's what every president does, Republican or Democrat. Packing the court means changing the number of justices to get your cronies on there. Republicans have never done that. And you know what? We had majorities in both houses in 2017 and 2018. We could have done that if we wanted to, and not a single Republican even suggested it because it would have been incredibly destructive.
Oh, it wasn't a thought, and for 150 years it hasn't been a thought. Actually, it was a thought, as you said, by FDR, but even Democrats said, what are you, crazy? We're not going to do this. And he was very popular, FDR, as we were fighting the war. It's Ted Cruz, one vote away, how a single Supreme Court seat can change history. U.S. Senator, great state of Texas. Let's talk about big tech. Last week, the New York Post gets this story about the alleged hard drive of Hunter Biden that's filled with all sorts of incendiary and sordid stuff. And even beyond that, it allegedly has emails saying that former Vice President Joe Biden has been lying about whether he met with Burisma officials and other people, and I don't know. We won't get into the details of that, but I do want to talk about specifically what happened. We talked about my situation when I was banned from Twitter because I dared say hydroxychloroquine works, which it does. And I'm the press, Ted. I'm covered in the First Amendment. I'm the media. Not me, of course, but I'm in the media, and for them to be able to squelch me was kind of nuts already. But now they decided to take, and you described this very well, the fourth most circulated paper in the country, and tell it we will not allow your link to a viable news story to be spread on our social media site. Jack Dorsey's response was lame after the fact. We kind of bumbled that, kind of mishandled that. But you put your foot down. You put your cowboy boots down. You said, I'm done. We're not playing this game. And just tell my audience what you said in that hallway that day.
Well, it's stunning. Look, the problem of social media censorship and bias has been a problem. It has been a growing problem. It's been getting worse and worse. Last week, though, it grew to a dramatically different level that we've never seen before. The New York Post had not one but two blockbuster stories. One about emails that appear to show significant corruption of Joe Biden concerning Ukraine. And then the second day, a second story about emails that appear to show Joe Biden personally making millions of dollars from communist China.
Right.
Both of those are major stories. If you or I or any American tried to tweet either one of those stories, tried to post either one of those stories, Twitter and Facebook blocked you. They would not lend you send a link to the stories. Not only that, the New York Post itself tried to tweet out on social media their own stories, and Twitter blocked the New York Post. Now, it is one thing, and it is wrong and profoundly dangerous for social media to be censoring individual citizens, and that's a huge problem. But this next escalation that Silicon Valley billionaires are asserting they can muzzle the press, they can silence the press. The New York Post is not some fly-by-night organization.
Yeah.
It has the fourth largest circulation of any newspaper in America. Do you know the New York Post is over 200 years old, and it was founded by Alexander Hamilton?
Wow.
And yet, big tech billionaires say, we can silence the press. And I got to tell you, most of the mainstream press it is rolling over like docile creatures, giving that power to Silicon Valley. And so I announced last week, along with Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, that the Judiciary Committee will be subpoenaing Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, to come before us and tell us what the hell he's doing and why he's trying to interfere in this election and why he's trying to silence the media.
And the FCC jumped in. Ajit Pai said that he's looking at Section 230, how to either revamp it or get rid of it or readjust it or at least make these people abide by it. Because, again, we've said this a million times, and I learned this from you. Either you're a platform or you're a publisher. If you tell Joe Pags or Kayleigh McEnany, whose account was shut down, or Ted Cruz or the New York Post, we will not allow what you're trying to tweet on our site. You are a publisher. Therefore, you should lose that immunity from liability. They get to have it both ways. We're going to stop you from posting anything you want to. We might even suspend you, and we still have immunity from being sued by anybody. So at some point, does 230 even do anything, Ted?
Well, right now, 230 is being interpreted as giving a broad immunity from liability for big tech, and it gives them a license to essentially be drunk on their own power and producing what we're seeing right now. I'll tell you, Justice Clarence Thomas last week wrote a very important opinion at the Supreme Court saying that there's a serious argument that 230 has been misunderstood. The courts have interpreted it far too broadly to immunize illegal and wrongful behavior, and suggesting that the courts need to look at that more closely. I think that is a very important sign of things to come, because, look, whether you agree or disagree with big tech's policies, who in their right mind would want a handful of billionaires in Silicon Valley having total control over what you're allowed to say, what I'm allowed to say, what any American is allowed to say? Talk about a threat to free speech and a threat to our democracy. big tech is the biggest threat we've got right now.
Senator Ted Cruz, only about a minute or so left, Ted. I just want to get your quick thoughts. And again, the book is called One Vote Away, How a Single Supreme Court Seat Can Change History. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Go and get it. A very, very important book. Your thoughts on Joe Biden, the guy who wants to be the next president, now putting a lid, so they call it, on any media availabilities, on talking to anybody, taking any questions, on going and speaking in front of anybody for the next 4 days because allegedly he has to prepare for a debate. I think you and I probably would agree he doesn't want to answer questions about this hard drive and this very, very sordid and incendiary story that's out there that Rudy Giuliani is out championing. Your thoughts about this guy just disappearing? It starts to feel like Hillary Clinton in 2016, doesn't it?
No, it's much, much worse than that. Joe Biden is hiding in his basement, and he's counting on the press to be his loyal soldiers and defend him. You know, it was stunning. Last week, Biden did a town hall on ABC. ABC didn't even ask him about the stories that had just broken about him potentially being paid, being offered millions of dollars in cash from communist China. I mean, it's stunning. And you know what they're counting on? They're counting on the voters are tired and this is complicated and all of these details, and I don't know, but you know, gosh, maybe I don't like something the president said, so I'll stay home. That's what they're counting on. They want people to give up. Let me tell you, I voted last week. Heidi and I both voted. We both voted for the president. We voted for John Cornyn in Texas. This election, if you care about the Constitution and Bill of Rights, we've never seen an election this important. So go out and vote.
Ted, always appreciate the time and the access. Thanks for jumping out of the vote to come and talk to us. Appreciate you.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.